Hey, what's up, guys? Hope everybody's doing well and having a great day. Remember a while back when this came flying through the solar system? They named it Oumuamua. It's still a topic of debate on exactly what this thing was and where it came from. Well, something else has entered the solar system. It was detected over here on the SOHO LASCO C3 and 2 instruments. Looks like something entered the solar system, came close to the sun, and then made a hard left-hand turn. In this video, we're going to analyze the footage that showed up on the C3 and C2 instruments, and we're going to take a real close look, at least as close as I could get, of this mysterious object that entered the solar system. But a quick update on the storm of a generation is what it was being called, as this Arctic cold air dipped way down into the northern Gulf states, creating over 1 million power outages all up and down the eastern seaboard, across the Gulf states, over into Texas. There were over 25 states dealing with major power outages of some degree as this cold air dipped way down into, once again, the northern part of the Gulf states. And there are still major power outages right now as I do this video. Over 200,000 customers in Maine, over 300,000 customers in North Carolina, still over 1 million customers without electricity. Pretty much the entire eastern seaboard is dealing with some sort of power outage situation, including Florida. Florida's looking at 7,837, New Jersey 8,336, and then the other states you can see: New York 59,000, Virginia 54,000, South Carolina 74,000, Texas at 15,000. And when it first started, this is what the map looked like at 8 a.m. on December 23rd. Actually, the cold air and high winds were well underway at this time. This was the morning of December 23rd, yesterday morning, and I took a screen grab of the power outage map over here at poweroutage.us, and again, the map was just overwhelmed with power outages. 26 states on this map right here at 8 a.m. on December 23rd of 2022, and the power outages continue even right now as I do this video. Coming over here to ventusky.com, looking at the cold air situation. This is what it looked like for the last couple of days. That big white and purple mass of cold air that dipped way down into the United States is starting to retreat. As you can see, it's not quite as cold. 5 degrees in Ohio, coming over to Indiana, 8 degrees. Missouri, 18 degrees. This is the ambient air temperature. The wind chills are still kind of cold. You can see that white purple mix again, -30, -31 in parts of northern Minnesota and North Dakota, even parts of northern Indiana, -13, -14, -15. That's the wind chill factor. -18 and 19 in Ohio, parts of Pennsylvania still in the negative teens, and in Illinois, negative teens. But the situation is improving. Once again, ambient air temperature is starting to rise a little bit as the Arctic air is starting to retreat. And all of this Arctic air started its invasion as we were at the winter solstice here in the Northern Hemisphere, December 21st of 2022. Remember back when I started measuring the shadow on the equinox, September 21st of 2022? I wanted to share with you guys the results of my little experiment. You can see where I started measuring the shadow in September, and here's where it ended up on December 21st, and I measured the length of the shadow, and it grew 23 inches. It grew just over 23 inches. In fact, around 23 and a half inches. You can see around 8.5 is where I started, and the shadow ended up being around the 32-inch mark. It's going to fluctuate a little bit, but in the neighborhood of 23, 24 inches, the shadow grew between September 21st and December 21st. So for all intents and purposes, pretty much right where it should be, according to the shadow, and the shadow never lies. Here's my journal, all the measurements I took. I started this back in September. Some days I measured, some days I didn't. Some days, to be honest with you, I just simply forgot. Time got away from me, and the next thing I knew, it was 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and you have to measure this at peak solar, high noon. You can't measure it at 2 o'clock. You can't measure it at 10 o'clock in the morning. You have to measure it at high noon. I did measure it on December 21st. I made sure I was out there ready and waiting. So the measurement is accurate, at least from my location, so the sun angle is right on schedule. So it does look like the Arctic air is slowly but surely making its way out of North America and retreating back up towards the Arctic Circle. Now over here to the SOHO LASCO C2. We're going to look at the LASCO C2 and C3. Watch right up here in the upper left-hand corner. You're going to see it right there. See that object very quickly appear and then disappear? It came in from the left, made a sweeping left-hand turn, got brighter as it made the turn, and then very quickly exited the field of view. That was on December 20th of 2022 at 0642 right there. The entire event lasted 2 hours. Okay, going from the LASCO C2 to the C3 instrument. This is just a wider field of view, and you can see the object appear over here also. Got brighter and then disappeared very, very quickly. But that occurred over the course of 2 hours. It wasn't like it just appeared and disappeared in 5 seconds. That was over 2 hours. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. One more look at it right there. See it come in and then just make a quick left-hand turn. We're going to go in and take a closer look. So here we go. Mysterious object enters the solar system. Kind of reminded me of Oumuamua that went through the solar system. This object here appears to come into the solar system, gets near the sun, and then takes off. I don't know if it was influenced by the solar wind. Not quite sure, and I'm not claiming to know what this is. I just found this quite fascinating. Okay, here we go. I've been using this instrument for over 15 years, and this is a first. I've never seen anything like this in over 15 years, and I'm not claiming to know what this is. I found it very fascinating, and we're just simply going to take a closer look at it. Right there it is in slow motion. Notice how it gets brighter. That tells us that the angle with regard to the sun, at least temporarily, was lined up with the sun because it started reflecting more light. Right there it reflected more light, and then as it departs, it gets dimmer. And here it is on the LASCO C2. This is original speed. Then I'm going to slow it down, and over here on the C2, right there, got real bright, and then it got a little bit dimmer. That tells us it was either behind the sun in order for it to get bright. If you've ever followed planets, here I put them side by side, here side by side in slow motion. Watch over here on the left and right. There they go. That's the C2, that's the C3. This is the wider field of view, this is the closer field of view. It appeared in both of these fields of view. But when it gets brighter, that tells us one of two things. The object is either behind the sun or it turned, obviously, which it did turn, and it was able to reflect more sunlight. These are enhanced versions from the LASCO C3 instrument. That doesn't necessarily mean this is exactly what it looked like, but it could be close. I don't know, but right here at this point was peak light when it was illuminated the most, and this is what showed up. And this could be just basic oversaturation. It's difficult to tell because we don't know how far away it was. I mean, it could have been closer to the spacecraft than it was the sun, and then again it could have been closer to the sun than it was the spacecraft. Impossible to tell, but we can tell it does get brighter and dimmer, and that means it was at least at one point right there reflecting more sunlight than it was in other points of its journey. Right through here it started reflecting less light, telling us that its orientation with regard to the sun and the SOHO spacecraft, the light was not being reflected, at least visibly, from the spacecraft. I'm sure it was visible from somewhere else, but not from back here. And the SOHO orbits the sun with the Earth. So this could have been between the Earth and the sun. Don't know. But typically when an object is between the spacecraft and the sun, they don't reflect as much light like this one did. They're actually very dim. If you watch Venus and Mercury transit through this spacecraft, going between the sun and the Earth, they're not very bright at all. And when they're behind the sun, they're extremely bright, and they look a lot bigger. There it was very bright. This is a still image when it was super bright before it turned. This is as it was turning. And these are all enhanced still images. Here I go to the C2 instrument, and I paused it right here when it was at peak luminosity, and then it turns and it gets dimmer. Right there you can see how it gets dimmer. I don't know. Typically when like a planet goes between the Earth and the sun, it's dull. You don't really see too much of it. This one here, at that one point in time, it got bright for about an hour or so. Keep in mind, this whole process right here took 2 hours. Here I zoomed in and tried to get as close as I could without becoming too overly pixelated. There's the object, whatever it may be. Don't claim to know what it is, guys, but it doesn't seem to be behaving like an asteroid or definitely a comet. It didn't have a tail. It appeared to be of intelligent origins as it came towards the sun and then made a left-hand turn. Looks like it could possibly have angles on it, but again, it's just too far away to conclusively say, yes, it does with absolute certainty. It's just too far away. This is something that came near the sun on December 20th of 2022. It was in this general area for about 2 hours. It appeared in this area at 0642, and it departed the field of view at 0842. So it wasn't like, again, it just appeared for a few seconds and then disappeared. These are all enhanced versions of some still images that I took of the object. It lasted for 2 hours. So it was up there for a considerable amount of time, wherever it may have been. This is simply light is dark and dark is light. That doesn't necessarily mean that's the exact shape of the object. It could be close to the shape of the object at that particular moment in time as it was moving. So it's going to look like it changes shape because of its orientation with the SOHO spacecraft, but doesn't necessarily mean that's the exact shape. But that's what showed up in that enhancement. So either way, something very bizarre. How big was that thing? And that's a good question, and that's the question of the day. I'll put it to you this way. It had to have been pretty good size to even show up on this instrument. Otherwise, it wouldn't have reflected light like it did. And at one point right here, it got pretty bright. So that tells me more than likely this was pretty good size. Exactly how big, that remains a mystery. Coming over here to the homepage of the website, today's feature photo was sent in by Pepper out of Glendive, Montana. This is during the recent storm from yesterday when the air temperature was probably in the negative 40 range and a big jumbo halo appeared on the horizon, visible from Montana. Don't forget to order your brand new 2023 Sky Phenomena photo calendar as we are 1 week away from 2023. To order your calendar, click on this banner right here or click on the link down below in the description box. And if you click on that link down below in the description box or the banner over here on the homepage of the website, it will take you over here to createphotocalendars.com and you can order a standard size wall calendar, XL, or a jumbo calendar. You can also scroll down and there's a variety of hoodies, t-shirts, and a coffee mug if you're interested in something like that. But don't forget to order your brand new 2023 Sky Phenomena photo calendar, as 2023 is literally 1 week away. Thanks for the photos, guys. Keep them coming. If you have any photos you'd like to share, you can send those to reports at MrMBB333.com. If you have any videos you'd like to share that are too large for the email, come over here to the homepage of the website. Look for this red tab that says Have a Large Video. Simply click on that red banner, drag and drop your video into the red tab. Please include your first name, date, and location, and I'll take it from there. Thanks for watching. Have a super day, and be safe out there.